Hi guys, happy Friday. So for today's tutorial we're going to be doing another beginner friendly Fridays. So obviously as you can see today we're going to be focusing on browns, thank god it's Friday, brows, liner and lashes. I do kind of feel like I always need to mention this at the start of these videos that I'm not professional. I've never been trained in makeup, I'm not a professional, I'm basically self-taught. Take what I say, take my wee tips and tricks just with a wee pinch of salt. Don't take them too seriously. Obviously how I do my makeup and I do my brows or my liner, my lashes or whatever it may be in these tutorials, that's obviously just the way I do it and what works for me. I don't actually know if I have any like wee actual tips and tricks for beginners whenever it comes to brows, but I will try my best to really talk through how I do my brows. Okay, so I obviously have no makeup on at all because I usually start my makeup with my brows, so that's obviously what I'm going to be doing first, and then I'm going to go off camera, do my makeup, and then we will come back and do our liner and lashes. For my brows, the first thing I start off with is a brow soap. So the one I've been using recently is this one from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the Brow Freeze Brow Styling Wax. I just kind of find that using a brow soap or a product like this, like the wee styling wax, just really makes my brows stay in place all day because they are quite thick and coarse. They can be a wee bit unruly and like drip down throughout the day. Like, I'm not even joking, it's an absolute nightmare. So I find that using a really strong hold product really maintains the style of my brows throughout the day. And I just like to start by brushing those hairs up. So this is obviously when it comes to preference with your brows. Most people will now maybe go in and holy shit. Most people will now maybe go in and like actually stick their brows to their face. That's not my kind of style. I don't really like that on myself. I love it on everybody else, but just not me. I think it's because my eyebrows are so wild. But anyway. See, while I'm here actually, I'm going to trim them. So that's obviously how I like to start off my brows. I like to start them off brushed up so I can really now go in with my brow product to kind of see where I'm wanting to go with the style and the shape. You can obviously use a brow pomade or a brow pencil or a brow powder. Obviously this does come down to your preference and what you feel comfortable with, but I would say that if you are a beginner, do try and start with maybe a powder and a brush or a brow pencil. Probably a brow pencil because it's just, you know, like you just have the product here and it's so much easier to work with and everything. So the wee brow pencil I've been using at the minute is from MEA Cosmetics and it is the Brow Define Micro Precision Eyebrow Pencil. Wow. I just get this off Beauty Bay. It's literally a couple of pounds as well, so it's also really affordable for you. And as you can see, like the tip of it is quite fine as well. I don't like ones that are far too thick because I really like to get a nice wee precise line and it isn't too heavy on the eyebrows as well. I like to start off a bit of a guide at the bottom of my brows and just create a line. And I'm just using really light pressure for this as well. And obviously I am aware that I need my brows done as well and tidied up around here, but I have to say I'm not very high maintenance whenever it comes to my brows. I just kind of let them run free. Just do whatever they want to do, really. So whenever it comes to like the arch and tail and all that good stuff, I literally just like boom boom boom, just whatever wherever it takes me. So I'm going to go into the spoolie and just kind of diffuse that line a wee bit and brush it up just so it isn't as harsh. I always like the front of my brows to be a wee bit more faded than the tail of my brows. So I'm just kind of like flicking. And then I always like to go back in with the spoolie at the other side just to like really diffuse that product through the actual brow. But you can definitely see that there's product there, but it doesn't look too heavy. And then whenever it comes to my arch, I like to come up at the top and create my tail because I don't have a lot, like I have a lot of eyebrow hair, but I don't have a lot up the top at the tail area. So that's whenever I like to exaggerate and create that myself. I like to go in with a wee bit of eyeshadow primer now just to carve out underneath the brow, and this is basically going to hide any of these wee hairs and finish and perfect the shape of my brow, because I kind of feel like before I do that they kind of look a wee bit uneven and they don't look the same. So just going in with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Eden. I'm just going to use the wee doe foot applicator that it comes with. I find that really handy. So we're just using that to kind of perfect and carve out underneath the brows. So we're just taking like a wee fluffy brush. I just literally blended that out just all over my lid. I hope you can see like the difference between my two brows now. This one just looks a wee bit more perfect. It's even looking just a wee bit thinner as well, whereas this one here just looks a tad unruly. But this is basically just how I do my brows. I do apologise if it wasn't very helpful, or I don't really have very many tips and tricks because I've never really cared for eyebrows that much. It's only been, well, if you've been following me for well, since the beginning, let's just say, you would actually only know that I've only had eyebrows the past 3 years. Basically, I used to shave my eyebrows. It literally took for a pandemic to happen, a global pandemic, for me to grow out my eyebrows. But I literally used to shave my eyebrows completely off. I had barely any hair in my eyebrows at all. It was absolutely ridiculous looking. My family still to this day takes the hand out of me for it because it just looks ridiculous. I'm sure I still have a load of videos up on my channel of my eyebrows back in the day, but I also just used to fill them in really harsh. They were just so overdone, really harsh, and just, my face was just an eyebrow. Absolutely wick. Whereas, you know, like now that I have eyebrows, I'm still kind of learning myself, so I am, so I suppose we can all help each other, right? But this is just how I do my eyebrows now, and this is just what works for me. So I'm going to go off camera now and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back on camera and do my liner and lashes with you. I just realised that before I went off camera there, I forgot to mention a brow gel. So this is actually just how I do it anyway, so that's probably why I forgot about it. But basically I like to do my brow gel after I do my base makeup. Once I have all of that done, I like to go in with a wee bit of brow gel. So the one I'm using at the minute is from e.l.f. a Woe brow gel, this wee one here. It's just a wee coloured one. It's just a wee tinted one that has like wee tiny wee fibres through it, and it's in the shade Taupe, and it's so good. I love it. It is really good. I go between this and the NYX Super Glue Super something, hold on, this one. So I basically go between these two, the e.l.f. one or the NYX Brow Glue. It's really good. It has amazing staying power. It basically is actually just like glue for your eyebrows, whereas I kind of find that this, you know, just for like everyday wear, is just a wee bit softer on the brows. So it is, and it just gives a nice wee bit of tint as well, and it also does provide a good bit of staying power as well. And I also love the wee brush as well. It's really good. So at the minute I don't actually use a lot of liquid liner. I always usually go in with shadow to create my wing. So just like a nice dark eyeshadow with a eyeliner brush or something like that. But I was also doing this the other day, and I done it in one of my previous tutorials, and I thought it was honestly such a great wee tip to actually do if you're a beginner with doing a wing or working with liquid liner or something. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about anyway on one eye, and then I'm just going to do the other eye with just the liquid liner, just in case it does make it a wee bit more difficult. But I'm going to obviously talk you through it as to why I think it is kind of foolproof, let's just say. So I'm going to zoom these in a wee bit, and I'm going to take on this eye, I'm going to do like the wee beginner trick I was talking about. I'm going to take a dark eyeshadow from just obviously any wee eyeshadow palette. So obviously you can take this shade here, or the shade just any type of or dark brown. I think I might actually take a mixture between these two here. And I'm going to be taking my Buff and Blend brush, the wee one that I created with Buff and Blend. This is the 03 brush. As you can see, It is a flat top liner brush. Basically what I'm going to be doing with the eyeshadow is I'm going to be stamping out my shape, and I'm going to be giving myself a guide to then go on with the liquid liner. I kind of feel like with eyeshadow you have a wee bit more room for error. You can obviously just like dust it off, wipe it off, kind of maneuver it a wee bit easier, whereas liquid liner there's no turning back really. Whenever I'm creating a wing, I like to start off with 2 lines. So I'm going to be stamping on this first line, and I kind of like to come over, start halfway, so basically where my pupil is, and stamp on a line going diagonal, kind of going up towards the tail of my brow. And then I'm going to create another one. I'm going to come to the outer corner of my eye, still stamping, and I'm going to go right up towards, again, the tail of my brow, still stamping on that product. And then obviously once you get to where the end of your wing is going to be, start to come off the pressure of your brush and flick. Literally just lightly flick and maneuver that shadow. I'm going to be taking the Wet n Wild Mega Liner. I have been using this eyeliner for years. Absolutely years. It has a felt tip nib. As you can see, it does come into like a really fine point, and what I love about it is the fact that it's really flexible. There are some foam tip applicators that are quite stiff and quite hard to work with, but with this one I love it. It is so good. So not only does it come into like a really nice fine point where you can be really nice and precise with it, the formula is also really nice and good and opaque, very long lasting and transfer proof. But talking about the point, it is so flexible. Just like the nib, like you can see how flexible that is. So I'm just going to zoom these in a bit so you can see what I'm doing here. So just like the shadow, so you see what I mean, how easy it is if you just put on or lay down a wee bit of shadow first of all, just to create your basically like a guide, so you can just go on now on top. Once you get so close to the outer corner, you just want to lift the pressure and flick. And then just the same on the lower line, just following that line. So just going in, getting a wee bit more product, loading up that tip. And I'm going to take the brush just on its side, and I'm going to stamp along the lash line. Okay, so now for the next side, I'm obviously going to be doing it without the guide of the eyeshadow, just so you can see how I'm able to do it freehand. So basically there's obviously 2 ways. Well, there's basically a number of different ways to create a wing, but the most popular way to create a wing is to just come to the corner of your eye, basically where your lower lash line is. I just like to come up from there and then just create and drag a line halfway straight up towards the tail of your brow. Whereas I don't know, it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Now and again, yeah, I will do it that way, but see, whenever, in fact no, I have just sat here and told you a lie, how dare I. Basically whenever I'm using any eyeliner that isn't this, so say if I'm using this one, I will literally go in and just create a nice wee line, and then I will come back in on myself onto the lid and towards like the inner corner and lid and all that crap. But see, with this one, the Wet n Wild one, I like to do it a wee bit differently because I find it so much easier to create a wing this way. So I think I might actually have to bring my mirror to this side so you're able to see a wee bit better. So again, I am starting from basically where my pupil is. So I'm basically going to create a diagonal line heading towards the tail of my brow. just like so. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. And then I'm going to be taking these wee lashes here. They're actually just wee unbranded lashes and they're wee half lashes. These are just like wee lashes I've been absolutely loving at the minute. I just love these for like every day and everything. I love the style. I love how they look in the eyes. I love the shape that they give my eyes, all that good stuff. So I've actually just glued them up at the minute. And the glue that I like to use is the Ardell Lash Grip dark adhesive. I don't like the clear lash glues or anything. I don't know, that's just again my preference. And as you can see, I just done my mascara before applying my lashes. Some people like to apply their lashes and then the mascara. I'll never understand it. I like to apply my mascara first of all, so whenever I'm applying my lashes, they kind of have my lashes to actually sit on, and because I have coated them with mascara, it's kind of gave my lashes a wee bit of sturdiness, I suppose, for the lash to then sit on top, let's just say, whenever I kind of place it on. So also if you do have nails or like really long nails, or you kind of struggle to like handle a false lash or whatever, these here are great. These are really, really handy. They're just like wee false lash applicators. So I'm going to get my wee lash. And I've obviously been letting my lashes get tacky for the past 5 minutes or so. So I'm just going to literally like set my lash on. I literally just place it on. I just place it on and just go on with it. So I like to just place them on and then go back to them. Oh, fuck off. There. So basically once they're kind of just like set on, I kind of leave them for like a minute or two and kind of let them kind of just like mold and shape to my eye, and then I go in and just using my fingers, or you can go in and use the alligator. I just like to go in and actually place it to where I want it to be, and obviously stick down the outer and inner corner. Okay guys, so this does come to the end of this tutorial, and thank you all so much for watching. And obviously do keep in mind that I'm going to be doing these every Friday night until I kind of run out of beginner ideas. So of course do let me know down in the comments below what you would want me to do next, and I'll have everything linked and listed down below in the description box that I used today. I do kind of feel like this video has been an absolute fail. I sometimes feel like I'm not really the best teacher at actually going in depth with things that I know that whenever I do it myself, I just wing it. I just wing it and hope for the best, and I sometimes don't really know what else to say or how to like really go in depth and explain how I'm doing things or why or something. Which brings me to why I'm even doing this series, but anyway, it's all for shits and giggles. But thank you guys anyway so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.